Hey everyone, it is your boy Captain Hunter coming at you again, and today I'm doing a kind of a two episode type of presentation here. I'm doing a something for messy entanglements as well as for Captain Hunter's podcast. And the reason I'm doing it for both is because I want to try to get into the Manosphere, right? And I think that that's applicable to both of my platforms. So the Manosphere, just a quick, short, brief introduction to that. The Manosphere is this idea that's going around that men are being red pilled and they're waking up to what's really going on, right? It's kind of a reaction to feminism and a reaction to the Me Too movement, saying there's not as much toxic masculinity may or may not exist, but it's okay to be masculine. It's okay to want to do masculine type of things. It's okay to want certain things in relationships. There's another ideology that's going on. It's called men going their own way, the MGTOW movement, men choosing not to be in relationships, maybe just dating to hook up or things along those lines. So this is what's called the Manosphere, right? It's a compilation of all that. So it exists in written form through different articles and blogs. It's also online through YouTube and various other platforms as well. So this is what's going on. So I really wanted to talk about it, its rise, its growth, and myself and a couple other good brothers are going to get on and we're going to talk about it in relation to messy entanglements. But I also think it's very pertinent to Captain Hunter's podcast as well. So if I'm watching the language, that you know why, because I really want to be very careful as to what I'm saying and how I'm saying it. So here we see one of the members of the so-called Manosphere, and I don't see, it's probably on here about how many views this video gets, but these guys got thousands of viewers. Some of their videos get seen millions of times. This is a guy whose name I don't even know his name. It's an attorney. I don't really know his name, but I do know that his I think his moniker is the lead attorney, so they'll call him TLA a lot and things along those lines. He's a Hartford-based attorney, an Atlanta-based attorney, and all these brothers, a few of these brothers really tried to show, a higher class of life. I'm saying brothers. Usually, when people talk about brothers, they're talking about black men, but there's white men in this movement as well. Jordan Peterson, as anybody's ever followed him, has talked about it. Kevin Samuels is a black man who's these guys wear suits. They talk about their colognes and just a higher class of men, right? So, and what they've coined the term high value man. And I think there's like 6 parameters. I don't know what it is, but you have to earn a certain amount of money. You have to be a resource to other men who are in the same 6-figure bracket. Just a high class man. There's 6 parameters. I don't know what they are. So I think it's interesting because I think that the vast majority, and I'm just assuming that the vast majority can't be millions of viewers, all of them high class people. There's got to be a lot of middle class people, average so-called Joes who are watching these people because they wanted to get into this class, because they want to talk about, or even sometimes women just want to view these things because they want to know what it takes to attract high value men, right? This, as I mentioned, this brother is an attorney. And so he's talking about, so he's an attorney and he's having these women on, having these conversations. Kevin Samuels is a really, really famous one. You've probably seen many of his clips on YouTube where he's going off on women saying that they're really, when they think they're 8s, 9s, and 10s, he's telling them, no, you're really 3s and 4s and 5s, and you really need just to settle for an average man. And he gets a lot of hits because of his ability to come off. And there's other people out there. And this, as we'll get into this brother right here is going to show us a number of other people. So I wanted to kind of chime in because I think it's a growing phenomenon. And myself, as I like to do research, and I study psychology and all that kind of stuff. So I'm very interested in this movement. And being back in the dating market, you really want to make the most out of this circumstance. So here they're going to start off with, and we're going to read this, and I'm not going to show the whole thing because there's copyright stuff, and this brother right here, TLA, has gone on record saying he doesn't care if people stream his whole content from front to back. I'm not going to do that. You want to watch the full video? It's an hour and 18 minutes. I went for a walk today and listened to the vast majority of it. And I really was really intrigued. So the sister that he has down here in the corner, she's going to introduce herself. Her name is Suzette, and she also has a YouTube channel, Suzette Speaks, I think is the name of her channel. So she talks about a lot of these things too. Now here we can see from the title, it says, "Why is a pretty black attorney still single? Lawyer cross-examined lawyer. Where is Kevin Samuels?" Right? So he's giving a shout out to Kevin Samuels right there. So as we can see, what they're starting out on is this post that this other lady, her name was Miss April Mason. She's apparently someone who's famous in this sphere as well, but she talks to women, right? She's not in the manosphere. She's in the womanist type of sphere that says that she's going to try to do what it takes to get women to attract these type of high value men. And of course, that would mean that you become quote unquote high value yourself, become more attractive, more ladylike, and things along those lines in order to get the type of man that you want. And so that's and there's another woman, Rebecca Lynn Pope is her name. She has to me a really poignant video, and it's really 3 minutes long. And maybe I'll do a reaction video to that as well. Excuse me, the video is about 20 minutes, but it's the first 3 minutes that she really breaks down something that very important. But I'll get into that later. I don't want to get sidetracked into this. So here is another woman who, as we can see here, she says, "Why am I closing my dating academy and getting out of the business of helping women in this way? The same reason why I closed my matchmaking service in 2013. The Manosphere, from what research I can tell, has been around since about 2014 or so. I could be wrong about that. I don't know. I'm just kind of going off of what I've heard. I haven't really done any in-depth scholarly research, just kind of looking around the internet and seeing where all this stuff kind of originated at. So here, Miss April Mason. Now they are in this clip that I'm showing right now. They're talking about this particular Twitter drop or Instagram. It looks like Instagram that Miss April Mason dropped, and she says, "My track record speaks for itself. However, the majority that come to me have unrealistic expectations. They are, I'm assuming, but she says the selfishness, fake everything." Now, I'm not one to throw stones at people, but she's talking about fake everything, and her hair is looking like that, and she's got a ton of makeup on in the photo. But I digress. Fake everything. They think they should be chosen because they have a vagina and good looks. The entitlement, just mean, not knowing the difference between being a woman and a wise, all caps, woman. And will fight you to be strong, not knowing how to be, capital B, capital E, versus do. I don't really know what she means by that. Thinking being feminine is weak or a pick-me, whatever that is. Placing the blame and not taking responsibility or accountability for the choices they made in men.
We are not talking about just some random woman. This value is like on this her opinion is worth more than a regular dude's opinion. Regular dudes, how many, okay, guys in the chat, let's be honest, how many women are you going to date in a year? It's not going to be that many. For an average dude, it might be less than 12 to 15. This woman for over a decade has, probably counseled thousands of women. This woman knows women way better than most women. And this is how she is describing black women. All right?
There was a monologue here where he talks about this particular woman, Miss April Mason, has met with thousands of women and helped be a matchmaker, and she decided to close the service because of just the disagreeableness, right? And they go on to say, being disagreeable, defensive, argumentative about everything, almost finding something to nitpick about, looking for perfection. If you mention anything about them doing something kind for the man they chose, it is like, what's he going to do for me? And the list goes on. So this is really kind of the crux, kind of laying the groundwork of what we're going to talk about here. So I want to get into just a little bit here of a good question that that the host, as well as his super chats, ask of Miss Suzette here, and she herself is an attorney, right? She's a smart woman, right? She's not a dummy. She's a smart woman, has her own YouTube channel, able to speak, articulate, think. It's supposed to be, you got to do stuff with YouTube. You got to be able to think on your feet, all that kind of stuff. Surely in a courtroom or whatever type of lawyer she is, she has to be able to think on her feet as well. She also goes on to state that this does not excuse men's behavior. A lot of men think because they are high earning, it makes them a high value man. Not.
Doesn't make you high value. And Kevin Samuels would agree. Men would agree with what she's saying, even here. No man in this chat thinks that if you earn $300,000 a year, then you're automatically high value. No man in this chat thinks that. But she says, listen, man, I have made my contribution and impact in this area for decades, right? Over 50 courses that will help women in this area that they can buy or rent. This is a woman who is an expert in the field, and she's telling you what she sees. All right. Now, who do we have? Who do we have? We have a black woman.
Oh, Lord.
Right? Who is knowledgeable, who is educated, who is attractive. What does time say? You know what time says? It says she's single. All right? Says she's single. Why? Why is it that someone who looks like you, why is it someone who is educated as you? Let me just.
Okay, so now we're going to get into what the definition is of a good man.
Celebrityization in terms of what we have access to viewing, in terms of people's lifestyles and the partners that they're picking. So I think a lot of discounting has been going on for what some would call, the average Joe, kind of what you've explained. Most people are not at the very top or at the very bottom. We're all, in the middle. Mm-hmm. So when we're looking for, people to, procreate with and produce offspring, it's natural that women want like the top of the food chain. However, when we're being more practical, like you're saying, with the numbers being what they are, most men are going to fall in the middle in terms of being, probably median income, not very high earner. We know that like less than 5% of people make, these good six figures across the board. So the likelihood of you finding a man that is ready to be married, looking to be married, finding you attractive, your lives and your interests align, and there's that, just the good timing is very rare. But I think with shows like, The Bachelor or with the Real Housewives, people think that they have a plethora of choices to match their high standard. That's just not true. And I don't think a lot of us whose parents were well-meaning, who, wanted us to make the best choice possible. Wait. That was me. My parents were like, school. It was never talked about in my household, when to marry and how to seek out someone for marriage. That was never my mom. I asked her and I was like, why you didn't say anything? She thought it would just naturally happen. But like other, high value, if you will, women or women who have been very focused and have parents who have been pushing them, I do think as a result of kind of like the opening up of women into the job market post the 1960s, 70s, and 80s, our parents saw that women had a lot more choices.
Let me jump in right here. Mm-hmm. It seems like what you're saying is that the parents pushed the women to get an education and prioritize themselves.
To achieve.
Why do you think these parents didn't prioritize family? Why do you think they have prioritized achievement more than family?
That's a great question. My cousins and I talk about this all the time because a lot of my older cousins are married, but my generation and younger, I guess it's split. But we talk about, we never had these conversations with our parents, how to date, how to look for a good man, how to, consider people for courtship, if you will, to use an old fashioned.
So this brother, somebody writes in the chat here, answer the question, what is a good man, right? She's going around the world here and she's going to keep going around the world here. And then TLA, I'm going to call him that, is going to have to pin her down. It's going to take her a minute to answer the question here.
masculine term, how to, you know, make oneself attractive or available to be found. When they say a man finds a good woman, how do you make yourself available to be found? I think they were just trying to, I even in my own self, just thinking about my experience, babies and having babies early was like drilled into me as being, you know, the worst thing that could ever be done in my life. So I had like a real averseness to even seeking relationships when I probably should have been. When I was in college, I was busy trying to run the campus. I was the leader. I was the, you know, the president of this, the president of that, and I enjoyed it. But I remember one of my homeboys who was also a noob, shout out to Jacoby, he would be like, dang, where your man at? And I was like, wait, I'm running for student government. I'm running the campus. What are you talking about? And he was like, he gotta love you and your organizations, don't he? I was laughing at the time, but he was trying to, you know, bring to light that, you know, there should be other things on your agenda. But even with my older cousins, even with my family, and particularly my parents, that was never emphasized. That was not something that was, you know, just seen as a priority. The priority was becoming the best you could be, proving the system wrong, you know, that Black people could be equal, that Black people could get graduate degrees, that we could do and be and earn what we hadn't been able to for the majority of us in past generations. So I think they were kind of really stuck in this achievement mindset because of society as a whole, because of what they could not experience. A lot of our parents did get married young. So they didn't have the choices that we have now in terms of education and, quote, putting off marriage. But I look at my friends who did have children young, and I'm like, wow, they're you know, they make out well too. It wasn't like the life-stopping scenario that I think many of us who were brought up, you know, fairly, you know, middle class, were taught that.
Right. So remember, the question is, what's a good man? And here's another brother putting in here, I'm about to get messy. What is a good man in her opinion? Answer the question. She's going around the world, and she's going to keep going. She's going to keep going.
You know, just sex and things that, you know, should be preserved. Your gift should be preserved. For a long time, that was just what the mindset was. It was just go get that degree and then go get that job and that money. It was not, to me, in my household, emphasized as far as the importance of partnership. Even though my parents are still married, most of my aunts and uncles are married.
Well, that's what I don't understand. Like, why is it that you know, the vast majority of your family is married, which means the vast majority of your family is focused around family.
I'm going to have to fast forward this.
That focus was just.
I'm going to have to fast forward this here and get to.
But, let me ask you this. People want to know your specific, your personal definition of a good man. Okay. Now, Hank Tyrone from the 404 High Value Man himself wants to know, what, in your opinion, is a good man?
I think I model what I think a good man is after my father. My father is a working class man. He's an electrician by trade. My father is just, I think.
Now, she's going to try to get into this here. She's modeling this after her father. Her father is not a high value man by these six. I really wish I knew the 6 pillars, whatever they are. You know, he's an electrician, works with his hands, obviously blue collar. But they're gonna have to pin her down again. She's not gonna answer the question. But I just want to stop it right there and just say that this is what she's valuing a good man is, right? Not a high value man. Just what's a good dude? What is that to you?
Very hardworking, dedicated, and he shows his love by doing.
Now look at it. The brother's laughing, right? TLA is laughing because he knows that this is not true. He knows that this is not true. What you're saying is not true. You know, there's this idea of cap, right? I wish I should have put a baseball cap in here. Maybe I'll do that. Okay, so I just put it in here. So this is cap, right? So I'm gonna, you know, this, and he's got it on, I'm gonna put the cap right on his head here. Right, I'm gonna put the cap on his head because what he knows what she's saying, and put it on her head because she's just completely capping. Right, I'll put it on her head. She's completely capping, and you can tell by the look on his face here that he's like, you're talking nonsense. You're talking nonsense, right? You're talking nonsense. So, and this is I'm bringing this to the people's attention because it's gonna become quite evident that what women say that they want, with the things that come out of their mouth, isn't matched up with their actions. And it's going to become very apparent as we go along here. You can see, like, look at his face. He's like, I don't believe a word you're saying. And I actually believe that women believe that what they're saying. Man, it's going to sound very sexist. I think that she really believes what she's saying. The problem is that their actions don't align up with it. It's going to become clear and evident as we go along in this video.
There's nothing he wouldn't do to sacrifice. He's a very giving and kind of a sacrificing man.
Sorry.
Look at him
I'm
laughing.
the fucking chat. Sorry about that. I'm not laughing at you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And I will bring a little, and I think this is a part of what kind of I hear in some of Kim Samuels. I don't listen to him all the time, but some of the overlay, I think, of how Black women are approaching dating has a religious overlay. No one is really acknowledging that, I think, as much as they should.
She's still not answering the question.
In terms of,
what is a good
who
man?
You're trying to choose, and you're Boaz and all this. I think sometimes we have been maybe, what should I say, misdirected or misguided by the church.
Wait. It seems like we kind of trail off. Like, I'm trying to pin you down here. What is your definition of a good man?
I'm going to take the cap off because I believe that. Hardworking.
Self-sacrificing. As well as empathetic,
compassionate.
Leader. Giver. Not perfect. Definitely not perfect. Visionary. Wants a family. And will be loyal.
Okay.
So that's her definition.
You're on the dating scene. You're.
That's her definition, right? So we're gonna get into that. And keep in mind, nowhere in there did she say the actual word nice. She didn't say that. That's going to become relevant in a little bit here. So let's get into, we're going to fast forward a little bit. Like I said, I don't want to steal all of my man's thunder here.
A lot when they said, think, Black women are trying to get, I can only speak for myself, some unattainable, perfection of Idris. I just need you to hold your job down. I just need you to have good men.
Okay, so she's talking about, this perfection of Idris and Idris Elba, one time sexiest man alive and all that kind of stuff. Now she said, I just need you to hold your job down, right? That's what she's saying. I just need you to hold your job down. Now he's going to do a good job of pressing her. I wish that he would have pressed her a little bit more. So she said, I just need you to hold your job down. Here I am. I'm this high-powered attorney. I read off all that stuff. You need to be loyal. He needs to be dedicated. He needs to be compassionate. He needs to be this giver. He needs to be a leader, a visionary, all that stuff. And now she's going to, I just need you to hold your job down. Now, that's not the only thing she said. I admit that. But listen, in light of everything else that's going on, just hold your job down. And he's going to press her about this. And you could see his reaction. So I'll rewind it just a little bit here. I'll rewind it just a little bit so we can get the full context. And watch his reaction. A lot when they said, think, Black women are trying to get, I can only speak for myself, some unattainable, perfection of Idris. I just need you to hold your job down. I just need you to okay, I'm gonna put the cap
Guys, does anybody believe this? I just need you to hold your job down. Oh my God.
Miami, PLA. If you meet some of the hustlers and the personal trainers today, and then tomorrow they're doing Forex, and then tomorrow they're doing this, and these are supposed to be the eligible, categories of men. It's crazy. And
it just drives guys crazy to no end when a woman says, just like you, who's a beautiful woman, I just need you to hold your job. Like, no, listen, a man with $50,000 can hold the same job for 15 years and you will look over him.
What a point. What a point. And this point hasn't been stressed enough, right? You're talking about these average brothers out here, good dudes, and women like this would just kind of just go over them. Now, part of the manosphere again is like, I want to be very clear on what we're saying here. The manosphere is talking about, particularly these brothers who wear suits and stuff, are saying that these women who have done a lot, achieved a lot, they want someone who's achieved more than them. Okay, that's good. But a lot of women are looking at all this, and I think she's right when she says that the Housewives of Atlanta and all these different TV shows and all that kind of stuff have distorted the regular woman's, the average woman's perception about what they want. And they too are skipping over these good brothers who got jobs for 15 years in the same place. Maybe they're Uber drivers or garbage truck drivers or work at the parks department or all these blue collar guys. Remember, her father's an electrician, plumbers, masons, all this kind of stuff. They're being sought over or overpassed. And women like this who are single, who she said, I want a good man who just keeps his job. And even in the video, I didn't show this part, but she talks about, I would go for her. I think it's actually before this segment. You guys can watch the whole video. Even in this segment, she's talking about, if a man's made less than me, and some of her friends, she said, the women make more than their husbands. And she said, if a man makes less than me, I would still go for it. This is what she said. But now she's back to, if a man makes $15,000, well, you guys can see it. You guys can see it. 15 years, $50,000, won't even get a second look from her.
No, I will not. This is what I'm saying. That's an assumption, TLA. I have one of the guys that I talked to before.
I'm going to rewind it just a little bit. I know I'm getting frustrated here. But
I just need you to hold your job. Like,
no, listen,
a man with $50,000 can hold the same job for 15 years and you will look over him.
No, I will not. This is what I'm saying. That's an assumption, TLA. I have one of the guys that I talked to before, pandemic. He made way more money than me. Good money. But when the statement was made, not everybody who makes good money is a high value man. I'm talking about in terms of their leadership and their spirit.
Objection, relevance. We're talking about men that make less.
I've seen both sides.
Listen, he's going to press her about it, but not strongly enough. He's going to let her off the hook. He's got this fish on the hook, and he's not letting her, and he's going to let her off. I want to say I didn't appreciate that. I think he's doing a good job, but he's like, objection, relevance. I was talking about $50,000, 15 years, and you want to talk about a guy making more than you. That's not what we're talking about. Here we go. I'll stop interrupting you.
Listen, I presented to you a situation where the man makes $50,000. Your response was to talk about a man that made way more than you. Your response was not relevant to what I said. I was talking about a man who made $50,000 a year and had been on his job for 15 years. Because you said, he just needs to be able to hold down a job.
Yes.
And your response to that man, your response to that man who made $50,000 was to talk to me about a man that you were thinking about dating or dated that made way more than you. Yeah. Do you realize that you talked about the opposite situation that I'm talking about?
I hear you, counselor, and I guess I was trying to make a juxtaposition, but you want me to just address the lower salary?
If you could just address what we're talking about, right? Because we're talking about a guy that makes $50,000, and you talked about a guy that makes like $500,000.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think that anything is wrong with that.
Gotcha.
I think
again. That's not the question, whether there's something wrong with it. The question is, could he get your number? Could he get your attention? That's the question. No. And she's going to say it a little bit in a roundabout way. She's going to say it.
I don't know. I think there are people who just are not compatible. I think
guys, listen.
Now they're not compatible. If you make $50,000, you can't step there because you're not compatible. And this is something that goes on in the Manosphere, right? Because women have said in these different videos that I've watched, and I've watched a number of them, that if a guy's they've got master's degrees and PhDs and stuff, and they're well traveled and well educated and all this kind of stuff, which is fine. And if somebody steps to them who is he owns his own barbershop making 70, 80 grand or whatever. Well, you know what? Are we going to be able to talk about politics? Are we going to be able to talk about whatever? And that's what they're talking about. Now it's not compatible. So even though you made this, so listen, I have no problem with her wanting what she wants. Just be honest about it. And I don't know. And I'm hesitant to say that she's actually lying or being dishonest. But I don't think that she really is analyzing what she's saying and what I think on the surface level she says I can do that, but when it comes to actual application of it, right, when we get out of theory, she can't do it.
Listen, it's not the fact that you make $50,000 that's the issue. It's just the fact that we're kind of not compatible.
No, don't say
Are you hearing this? It's all women always go to the compatibility. But what does it mean? It means you make 50 grand a year. I'm just teasing. I'm just teasing.
How you think, how you respond to issues, how you deal with pressure. There's certain things that you see in a man's personality.
So we can see in the post there, it says, somebody says, this is an open and shut case. The guy she attracts doesn't want them. The guy she wants doesn't want her either. Water seeks his own level. Let's not complicate things here, right? So she's going after guys who make, and this has been brought up in the Manosphere, right? These women who are making, $150,000 a year. The guy that you want, as they say, wants more than that, right? He doesn't care about your money. He doesn't care about your money. He doesn't care about your education. The guy's making $300,000 a year. He doesn't care about your money. He doesn't care about your education. In fact, I actually think it's actually an impediment to some people. I really do. I think it's an impediment to some people, to women, because they want these high value men, so-called, and the high value men are just want to, okay, I'm just going to run around and just do whatever. I mean, I got my pick of the litter, so I'm just going to keep on picking. And if I do have one, they need to understand that you may be the main one, but I got some other ones as well. But that's for another show.
When you go on dates with him and you're seeing like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that. She capping. She capping.
I don't have to live with you. So if I see this behavior.
All right, listen, wait, let me jump in.
I'm keeping a cap on her head.
Guys, I know I've missed a lot of super chats. Let me pick them up right quick. Shout out to, wait, give me 1 second. Shout out to Senator 1021 says, do you know what, okay, this is a question. Do you know what men want from a woman? We heard about your expectations, but do you possess the qualities that men want? What do you think men want in women? This is a good question.
It is a good question.
I think men want someone who is
How am I missing these super chats?
Easygoing. Sorry. Yeah.
I'm just missing these super chats and it's pissing me off. But I'm sorry. Go ahead. The chat is going pretty quick.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Pretty much like the opposite of Miss Mason's list. Like, I don't believe men want anybody who is going to be very difficult, very combative. Focused on herself, very selfish. I think they want someone who is, I'm assuming, going to support what they are doing, support their dreams.
Let me just stop right here. Shout out to Ant26. I'm sorry I missed this, Ant. It flew by. It's $100 super chat, so thank you so much. Says, call her out, TLA. Play the tape back. She said the guys she was dating didn't have it figured out. 20 minutes later, she switched it up, saying that they didn't need to have it all figured out. Right? It's hard to pin women down. Right? Thank you so much, Ant26. Shout out.
Not figured out, meaning most of his stuff was not figured out, but you don't have to have it all.
Okay. Listen. So how do you make that calculation, Suzette?
There are signs and signals.
Okay.
I have seen, maybe they should be answering, but that.
No, what have you seen? We want to know from a woman's perspective.
If I go out and the conversation goes left real quick. So it's like, get to know you. Hey, where you from? What you do? What do you like to do in your spare time? Kind of fun stuff. It switches from maybe like, what's up with your family? I'll ask about the family structure, like, hey, you grew up with your mom and them, or who raised you, that kind of thing. I'm trying to figure out who, how this person developed. And it'll just go left real quick. It'll be like, not, I guess I can't repeat everything here, but
no, you can repeat it. It's not like it's gonna get monetized anyway. Go ahead. We want to know. We want to know. Listen, the people asked you to come up. The people asked you to come up. They want to hear directly from you. They don't want to hear from me. And they want to hear
roasted.
They set you up, fucking people in the chat, man. The chat is undefeated. They are undefeated.
I'm like, bruh, I was nervous. Y'all done put me on a Kevin Samuels episode. I'm just trying to live my life. Meet somebody nice.
So how do you? Here you go again. I'm just trying to meet somebody nice, guys. Like, listen, this is what kills us. When the women, you say, oh, I'm just trying to meet somebody nice. What did you say 10 minutes ago? I'm just trying to meet somebody that can hold down a job. Right? But it's not true. You have a because when I
it's not, I gotta put the cap back up. It's not true because he's not gonna press her hard in this. Now I think he's about to go down his path, as you hear it. He's about to go down his path, and he starts to forget what he said because she interrupts him. What she said, I'm going to explain it because he's not going to. What she said was, I just want somebody who's nice and can hold down a job. Somebody who can hold down a job. When he presses her about that, he's going to say, what he means to say is, I told you about somebody who can hold down a job for 15 years and making $50,000 a year, and he's incompatible with you. You're not looking for somebody nice. And that's fine. Just say that. That's why we don't. That's why he's making these faces. That's why people in the chat they don't believe that. They don't believe that. They don't believe it. And you had this litany of parameters: nice, kind, and gentle, and giver, and visionary, and leader, and hardworking, and all this stuff.
Asked you right now. You said,
you going back to the apps? You going back to the apps? Okay.
I was not. No. I wasn't going to the apps. Okay. You just said, and I quote: if we could have the court reporter read back, you said, I'm just looking for somebody nice. That's what you said. 10 minutes ago, I asked you, what you wanted in a good man, and you had all of these
elements. Was that
elements.
A long list? Was it long?
It had at least 10 things on it.
Oh, but
and the ironic part is that I don't think nice was on there.
No, but compassionate goes with nice, funny goes with nice. Those things go together, I think.
Right.
Okay, I should have put it on there. But a nice personality is nice.
I would just say it kills guys when women like you, beautiful women, say, I'm just looking for somebody nice. And men know that's cap.
No,
it's
you guys.
You just said it. Wait, are you saying that's not cap?
No.
You're just looking for somebody nice.
Y'all looking for wives, and y'all not looking for wives. I want you to be truthful. Y'all not looking for wives. Y'all looking for hangout buddies and friends with benefits and friend zone benefits and that foolishness. That's what y'all. I mean, not everyone, and I'm not gonna say all men are the same. So please don't make me all women, because I'm not the same. But I'm just saying, you're painting it as if every man is trying to wife the girl he takes to Chili's or cheesecake. That's not true.
You're making a fair point. Which is why I asked, how do you distinguish? Let's back up for a second. Let's say you go on 10 dates. Out of those 10 dates, what would you imagine would be the number of men who would just want to hit versus the number of men who want a relationship?
Remember, I live in South Florida.
Okay, that's fair. Fair. What does that mean? Because a lot of people don't know what that means.
I think there's a big hookup culture here. There's a big hookup culture.
Okay.
So that's why I rely on friends and family to give me vetted people. Okay? So you're not like just out there, because people are just out here just doing what they want to do. Presenting one thing, and truly they are other things. So I think out of 10, 7 or 8.
Wow. So 7 or 8 just want to hit, and then
absolutely.
So then
now, man, I'm going to say we got to do better, right? That's why I want to talk about this too, right? I'm not just going to completely bash her. Men got to do better with all this. You got to do better.
That there's so many men trying to hit and not be in relationships. But let me ask you though, why is it, if you are beautiful and intelligent and have a great career, why is it that you think a man would not want to be in a relationship with you?
I think, I hate to say it, but some men are, quote unquote, even though I don't feel like I am, intimidated, if you will.
Here we go.
I don't know. I'm not dating with intention. I hear you, Xavier.
I think a lot of men are intimidated. I think that's definitely true.
Some men may feel,
but they're intimidated but the reason that they're intimidated is because of what she said. If you make $50,000 a year, you can't step to this woman. $80,000 a year, you probably got to make a good 6 figures. Be driving, a Range Rover, Land Rover in order to step to this woman, right? And there's good brothers out here who got it. So I think it's two things. I think the more average man is intimidated, and the more higher value man, so-called, doesn't want that. He's not looking for a woman with a PhD and all this kind of stuff going on. He wants a woman who's nice and submissive and going to be a housewife. I think these women put themselves in this category where they're almost untouchable, where the average man can't get them, and the higher value man has his options, and he's got the cream of the crop, and he's not interested. And this is something that a lot of women, I think, just don't understand. They're not interested. Higher value men are not interested in this type of woman. It's not a plus that when you tell them you got your own business, you got your own PhD, you got your own bag, he's not interested. That's not what he wants. He wants a woman. He wants a wife. He wants a family-oriented woman. He wants a submissive woman. That's what he wants.
out of quote their league. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I have an answer for that. Why I think there are men that may not want to.
Okay, so I'm gonna leave it off there. But I think that I think that women, unfortunately, and I have a daughter, so I have a little bit of a stake in the game here. Is that the women who really tried to do what she did and really tried to be just college educated and put family off to the end, really put themselves in a trick. In all honesty, because as she mentioned, right, she can't get these guys who she wants, right? She's got this stuff going on in her life, and the more average guy, he may be a more average type of person, right? Remember, she comes from average stock, Jamaican ancestry, and average stock. The father's an electrician, so she patterns him after him, patterns what she's looking for after that. But then, when called upon, that the guy who makes $50,000 can't step to her because they're not compatible. This is words out of her own mouth. I know she doesn't like to hear that. It doesn't seem the way it sound that way, but this is what's going on here. So a lot of average guys are getting passed over. So I think that I thought this was an interesting but telling interview that this lawyer gave, and it was good. But I think it gave a real insight into a lot of people's frame of thinking. And she gave I think she gave a good interview, and it was very telling. But it totally destroys her point of view, right? So at the end of the day, I got to put a cap on her head because she's let me center this cap a little bit, so we'll center it a little bit more. So because she's just not being completely honest and all that kind of stuff. So listen, let me know your thoughts, your opinions. Am I on about this? Was she right? Was she wrong? Feel free to hit me back, messyentanglements.com. You can hit us off at Messy Entanglements on IG. All that kind of good stuff. Try to do a couple more of these. We do got a lot of episodes coming up about this. Got some good brothers coming on, and we're going to talk about all this, these types of videos. And much love and peace in everyone.